In our driver's seat, it's the 2008 Chevy Malibu Hybrid. Now, this vehicle debuted recently at the 2008 All-Star Game in San Francisco. The Malibu itself won Car of the Year recently, and this has won many awards across the board. But let's talk about something that came from the 80s. It was called trickle-down economics. Well, it's more of trickle-out economics. Now that hybrids have become more acceptable in the smaller cars, Chevy have embraced the technology and are now starting to put it along their lines all the way from their small vehicles to their larger trucks. It's a great innovation for a car company as big as GM to embrace such a new technology. And this is one of the most outstanding hybrids I've seen in the last 12 months.
Now, this is where Nick and I are certainly going to have a difference of opinion. I love the new Chevy Malibu, and I think it was well deserving of its Car of the Year award. But the hybrid is a little bit of a mix for me. I don't know if it's fully embraced by the way that I think it applies to the family of GM vehicles. It is a great vehicle inside. We'll take a look at the interior, the overall drive. Right now, we're going to pop right here under the hood.
Underneath the hood of the 2008 Chevy Malibu Hybrid, you'll find a 2.4-liter engine and also a 36-volt electric engine. Now, this being one of the first hybrids of its size, it's new engineering and controlled by a complex computer which GM have actually manufactured specially for this car.
Let's talk about some numbers really quick before we move on to what is the real focal point behind the hybrid Malibu, which is to have better fuel economy and lower emissions. 164 horsepower and 159 pounds-feet of torque does give it a respectable 0 to 60 time of about 8.5 seconds. Now, the 4-speed automatic transmission works in conjunction with the two motors, the electric for assist and, of course, the gas internal combustion engine. But the thing about it for me is the way that it goes from assisted to non-assist, or more importantly, the auto stop system at the stoplights. Now, I've made complaints before, especially with the Honda system, that it's very, I guess, lack of better ways to put it, annoying that you feel the car clunk in and out of gear or when the engine starts or stops. You don't feel that with the hybrid. As everyone rants and raves about how great the imports are, this is a good old American car with great state-of-the-art technology. For me, definitely worth a look if you're out there shopping in the hybrid technology world for your next automobile. Now, I don't know, again, if performance is one of the things that GM wanted to instill in the hybrid Malibu, but you know what? It does have a great drive. Fully independent suspension, and as you can see by these tires, a little bit of built-in understeer. But I tell you what, if you look at the B-roll behind me while I'm talking, you'll see that the car actually has great handling, great ride, and it all comes together. Fuel mileage and a fun drive.
On the exterior of the 2008 Chevy Malibu Hybrid, you'll notice very little difference from the regular Chevy Malibu. This vehicle has very smooth lines. It's not been designed to be obtrusive. In fact, it's designed somewhere along the lines of fitting into the Chevy line, but it also has some features from things like their Corvette. This vehicle actually has a lot of the Chevy things you'd expect to see on something, but doesn't stand out in a crowd. And I think they've tried to do that purposefully to actually make this car feel like something you'd want to buy off of a lot and not parade down the middle of the high street in carnival time.
When it comes to reviewing the 2008 Chevrolet Malibu Hybrid, I've got one of the easiest jobs in this review, reviewing the exterior. It only has a couple badges on the sides and one on the back to really tell you that it's a hybrid, and as Nick said, that's a definite strong point. The beauty is right here in the front end. I think this is one of the best looking designs that come out of GM in a long time. There's only one thing wrong with it with most states in the union. You got to bolt a license plate on here. For me, I might just chance taking the ticket. Now that I've jumped in the driver's seat of the 2008 Chevrolet Malibu, I'm greeted by an interior I've already told you once I like. I like the sculpture in the dash. I like the way that everything's laid out very easily. I like the controls on the steering wheel. And I like that the steering wheel is kind of larger than the average wheel. Something about that big American car feel, even in a midsize from 2008. I like the way that there's little nooks and crannies like this one right off here, maybe just purposely built for us left-handers. But I like the comfort and the feel. It's easy to get in and out of. And I like the way that the dash is laid out. Nice gauges, nice soft colors. Overall, one of the best interiors in this class.
From a front seat passenger and a rear seat passenger's view of the 2008 Chevy Malibu, there's plenty of room, especially legroom in this vehicle. There's also some new materials used and an ergonomic platform on the inside, so it makes the car feel more roomy. Some of those new materials are lighter in color. For instance, now the stereo system and the panel systems on the inside come in a silver instead of black. But there's also something here from those Japanese counterparts, and that's storage space. I see new bottle holders in the door. I see new covers and double consoles in the center, and I also see some dash storage, which I haven't seen in these vehicles before. Now, I really think that's an advancement for the vehicle. Overall, clean, usable, and fairly environmentally friendly.
Now is the time in the program where we give you our 2 ups and 1 down for this, the 2008 Chevy Malibu Hybrid. For me, it's going to be the basics. The car is a great step forward for GM to take their hybrid technology and apply it to their bread and butter car. This car is very inexpensive, and that's going to be pretty much the wrap up for my 2 ups. It's a great technology wrapped with a low price, and I think the buyer is going to definitely appreciate that. My downside is going to be the way that it does differentiate from the car that I loved originally when I tested the Malibu. The first Malibu I drove was an LTZ, had the high performance V6, all the goodies on the inside. So for me, the bare bones approach on the interior is going to be my down. There's nothing really wrong with the car, but I think they need to have a luxury version with the hybrid technology.
My 2 ups and 1 down for the 2008 Chevy Malibu Hybrid is similar to Dennis's. Let's start with the price. The price of this vehicle is outstanding. If you think about the money you spend on this vehicle and what else you can get in the marketplace, perhaps from a Japanese automaker, this is one of the most outstanding hybrid sedans that I've ever seen for the price. My second up is the technology underneath the hood. Now, they've worked very hard at GM to come up with some really good hybrid vehicles. Now, you get a lot more display features in some of the Japanese counterparts on the interior, but they basically do the same job. This vehicle gives you the power, it gives you the hybrid, it gives you the low emissions that any Japanese counterpart will give you. And that's my second up. My down for this vehicle is the miles per gallon used and the difference between this and the regular Chevy Malibu. Not the hybrid, does about 2 miles more in gas in both city and highway. With the hybrid version, you only save that extra 2 miles per gallon. And I think that's a really poor difference between the original and the hybrid version. I'd like to see at least a 5 or possibly an 8 difference in miles per gallon usage. And that's our complete review for the 2008 Chevy Malibu Hybrid.
The 2008 Chevy Malibu Hybrid comes with a 2.4-litre 4-cylinder dual overhead cam engine and a 4-speed automatic transmission. The base vehicle price is $22,140 and the as-tested price is $22,790. The EPA fuel economy estimates are 24 miles a gallon in the city and 32 miles a gallon on the highway.